Hello, dear friends. Today we're talking to a great guy named Troy Rand, and he is here with a conversation about technology, a little bit of his life and the way Taekwondo has guided him. And I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you on the other side. Tell me a little bit more about your dad. We got into it before, and he's been in dentistry before, and you told me that he remembers me from a long time ago in implants. Is that right?
Implant Direct. I don't know if you ever purchased through them. I think that might have been
a little bit.
Yeah. So he started out back in the late 90s with LifeCore.
Right.
And I can never remember the company that LifeCore turned into, but another implant company, one of the bigger ones. He's worked with Zimmer, Biomet, now ZimV. He's worked with IDS, Implant Direct. He's created many of his own businesses as well, very much entrepreneur minded. He's my cousin also, Mike, did a lot of these projects with my dad. One of the things they invented was this push-up dumbbell. And, similar like the perfect push-up that just like twists, right? You go down, you twist, but they invented this thing called originally it was called the ISO Shred, and then they changed it to the ISO Core X. And
I like ISO Shred better.
Yeah.
But ISO Core X.
Yeah. Okay. And so it's this push-up dumbbell, and it has like a wheel on each side of the dumbbell, like two wheels with like computer roller chairs, so they can move omnidirectionally. Wow. So you're doing a push-up, but you have to hold your entire core still because they can slip out from you in any direction. Wow. So you can do ab rollouts with them. You can do flies with them.
Any direction, huh?
Yeah, any direction. And you use these things for 5 minutes and you feel it for 3 days. Like,
wow. So you're in a plank position.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, I mean, most people, like if you can't do many, I mean, even me, like I'll just go from my knees and I'll do push-ups on my knees to do flies because doing a fly from a normal push-up position, you got to be super strong.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they slip out and you hit your face on the tile or,
well, there's a concept in fitness, time under tension. I think it was coined by a medical doctor. I think it was an ER doctor, and he wrote a book called Body by Science. And it's very rigorous. It basically is really small weight, and you have to like do really slow reps. So like imagine a squat that takes you like 30 seconds. So you're basically holding time under tension.
Yep. And
you might not be using very much weight at all. Maybe just the bar or 95 pounds or something like that.
Yep.
Instead of trying to do 400 pound, squats or
I hear you.
deadlifts, and it's better for your joints. So I started it, got into it a little bit, thought, wow, nobody's going to work out with me. This is like, it's pretty bad. So it reminds me of that. So this LifeCore, what is it called?
ISO Core X.
ISO Core X.
Yep. Or ISO Shred, but ISO Core X is what.
Nice.
And they got, Brock, one of the radio guys around here that does the sports, they got him to do one of the commercials.
Great voice.
Yeah, great voice.
Of the Seahawks kind of thing.
Yeah, and then they had Steve Weatherford, who was the punter for the New York Giants. This dude was ripped, like the most jacked punter you've ever seen in your entire life. He was one of the sponsors for it as well for some time, but and it still exists. My cousin is a brilliant mind, also military guy. He operated heavy machinery, helicopters, and they're actually running a construction company right now around the Puget Sound. They do government bids and contracts and stuff, dirt work, and they've done some like sidewalks and that type of deal. But that's been my dad's main focus lately. He does want to retire soon, but truthfully, I don't think he'll ever actually retire just because that's just the way he is. He has to be doing something. Yep. But yeah, he's been a great mentor for me in a lot of ways, and someone I'm very, I don't take him for granted. Just the information and the wealth of knowledge that he has in the dental industry, and talking with doctors, and just how to present yourself in more ways than one. He has really helped me, shape me into the person I am. Similar to what Taekwondo has done for me too. And my master John, who unfortunately passed away from brain cancer early 2020. So the studio shut down, but Taekwondo really molded me into the man I am today. So
Excellent.
all the credit in the world to John too.
Okay, John, is that in South Seattle, or is that like Renton, or where?
It was in Maple Valley, which is where I'm from. The studio is called Phillips Taekwondo Center, PTC. Yeah.
Phillips Taekwondo Center.
Yep.
Is that John's last name?
Phillips, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. So how old were you when you started that?
I was 5 years old. So I started with one Taekwondo studio out of Fairwood, Renton area. And I think I did 1 or 2 classes, and it was like too much of a game. It didn't really feel like what Taekwondo should be. And so I only went to that studio a couple times, and then we went over to Phillips Taekwondo Center, which at the time was, I believe, Lee John or Lee's Taekwondo Center or something, but he ended up changing the name. But yeah, and then the rest was history. I went 3 days a week. My mom ended up starting a few years later. She also became a black belt.
Really?
Yeah, we competed all over the United States. I was cleaning my room, so it was kind of funny. We were all sitting downstairs a couple nights ago, and we hear this huge, loud crash, and we're like, what was that noise? And we walk upstairs, and it wasn't my niece. She was on her game playing Fortnite. Couldn't figure it out. Well, an hour later, I'm in my room, and I realize my tapestry for my closet was like bulging out. I'm like, what the heck? I pull my tapestry behind, and sure enough, my entire closet had collapsed.
Really?
And I was like, oh my God, I have way too many clothes, stuff sitting on my shelf. And it took us like 3 or 4 hours the following day to clean it up and get all my shelves put back. Anyways, what I'm getting at is, during cleaning my closet, we found these posters, and they're from my Taekwondo tournaments in 2006 and 2007, going to Atlanta, Georgia, and getting to compete in the Georgia Dome where the Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons play. And I got to fight on the field. You know, I'm 9 years old, getting to compete on an NFL stadium field, and I took gold. Wow. You know, so it was a lot of fun and just cool, team bonding. We had a team of probably 15 to 20 of us, all traveled to Atlanta and just to spar. Nice. And yeah, I really miss doing it. I don't do Taekwondo anymore, but I'm sure some of our friends have found some other studios, because unfortunately, as I said, our studio shut down, but some people still do it. And it's I wish my sister did it as well, but she didn't follow through. She quit. But
just the two of you?
Just me and my mom. Yeah. And it's just the level of care that John had with all of his students, and his wife had. And, when I started out, I was 5 years old, 5.5, and the class was called the Little Ninjas.
Nice.
And so getting to be with the Little Ninjas and Patty, and she actually came and stayed at our house here not too long ago. But growing up, and then, it took me 5.5 years to get my black belt. And in that process, you have to go back and then teach the Little Ninjas. So you get to see the kids from where you were. And now I'm 10 years old, which felt like super old at the time, right? Yeah. I'm teaching these 5 and 6 year olds. So it's cool. It really comes full circle. And they just really, the path you had to take to get to the end wasn't some, money grab or, pay me X amount to get the next belt. That you had to go through all the proper procedures, and it was very extensive to get to the end.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're teaching someone else as a 10-year-old, that probably does a lot for a 10-year-old, I think.
I think so. Yeah. Taught me more than I probably was able to actually take in back then, but it really did put things into perspective and give you that ability to, help coach someone and, have the control and be able to step into the ring with the 6-year-old when you've been doing this for 5 or 6 years, and to, show them the ropes without going too hard, and, but still hard enough to the point where they're able to, push themselves too. And so it's a really fine line. And some people struggle with that a lot more than others. And that's one of the tenets of Taekwondo. It's self-control. And so like there's a guy who's a year older than me. His name's Chad. And Chad, he would go all out in sparring. So I was like, he was bigger than me and stronger and faster. He would not hold back. And I'm like, can you go a little bit easier? I'm like, come on, man. And some people just, they have that ability to, and self-awareness and self-control. And that's something that he got better at as he got older too. But it's really something I came to, I don't want to say took for granted until I trained some jujitsu and went to this jujitsu studio, and they had what felt like to me no self-control or we were rolling on the mat, and this guy I'm a white belt and he's like giving me zero entry anywhere. I'm like, man, this is brutal. Like, you gotta let me feel like I'm doing something right. Like, come on. And so it made me really realize like how much, just having a little bit of control and showing someone the ropes, it can leave a big mark on someone and the way they view things. So,
okay. Just a general overview. Taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, karate, judo. Those are the ones I'm aware of. And where are those from? What's the philosophy of each one of those?
Well, Taekwondo is a Korean sport.
Okay.
Karate, I'm not actually sure.
That's fine.
Jiu-jitsu, it's very popular all around the world, most popular in Brazil.
Yep.
Judo, I'm not sure where it originates from.
But judo, I understand, is like mostly like defensive, like reversals. Is that right? Or throws?
It's a lot of throws. Yeah. Hip throws, just takedowns. There's no like striking in judo.
Okay.
And karate, there is a lot more striking with hands than there is with feet.
Yep.
But they do both. And like Taekwondo, we do hands as well. Like, you punch, but you don't punch to the head in Taekwondo, but you can kick to the head. Just some of the slight differences there. But yeah, funnily enough, my dad actually, bring him back into the conversation. He ran a jiu-jitsu studio in, I don't know where it actually was based out of, somewhere around Renton. He actually brought the very first Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt into the state of Washington, Marcelo Alonso, who's one of the biggest names in jiu-jitsu today with just how well known he is. And it's kind of cool. A lot of the students, my dad never got black belt either, but a lot of the people in his studio now run their own gyms around the Puget Sound area. So it's kind of fun, lore, I guess.
Yeah.
My dad, I grew up watching the UFC from the time it like began.
Yeah.
So,
And was your dad into that jiu-jitsu and then taekwondo?
He never really got into taekwondo, besides he'd come watch me spar and stuff. But yeah, he knows a lot of jiu-jitsu and the technique and stuff. And we would roll around when I was little, and he would teach me all kinds of things. So
For jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
But hey, but you started in taekwondo and stayed there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Did it for a solid 12 years. It really it taught me courtesy, integrity, respect, indomitable spirit, humility, perseverance, some of the tenets of Taekwondo. And, we had to research extensively these things, to get to the black belt. It was a rigorous, process.
Okay.
To get to a red belt, it took a minimum of 3 years to get to a red belt. And that's if you were going as fast as you possibly could.
Really?
And then once you become a red belt, you have to wait at least another year. So you're a red belt for like 6 months. You do another test. You get a piece of black tape around your red belt. You do another 6 months, 9 months. You get a second black tape, and they're individual tests. They do one test a month with a group of students that have all gotten to that point where they're able to test for the next belt. But red belt, once you get those 2 black pieces of tape, you are eligible to receive an invitation to test for your black belt.
Okay.
And then once enough red belts achieve 2 pieces of black tape, you could get up to 4. Not very many people were red belts for that long, but there were some, just because he didn't want to do a black belt test with only like 2 red belts, just because it's a very long process. So you get your invitation in the mail, and then you have like a pre-test, and you have to go run a 5K in, a good time. Like, if you're only one person ever actually failed the test for the 5K just because he felt like she could have done better. Okay. There was like, you kind of had, individual times you needed to hit. You didn't know what your time was, but as long as you gave everything you had, you were likely going to. I think I did mine in like 18 minutes or something. It was pretty fast, or 19 minutes. And So you do your 5K, and then before you do your 5K, you have a written test. So everything you've learned up to that point, you're getting tested on. Then you do your run. You come back from your run. All the people that are current black belts in the studio are there, and you have another test. So you go through all of your forms, all of your technique. You have your pre-test, and then you pass your pre-test. Okay, then you start IT training, which is another 6-month long process. You have to show up to class at least 3 times a week. If you miss one day, he's going to be on your behind for it. You cannot miss a single class. And then after you do your class once a week, you have IT training. So you stay an extra hour, 2 hours, where he goes over even more stuff with you. You do some more research. So you do that for 6 months. And then you have your black belt test. And that's an all-day event on a Saturday, usually lasts 8 to 9 hours. You go through everything. You build a forum with your classmates that you're also testing with, like a creative forum that you all have to be perfectly in sync with, and present. And then you do board breaking. And then one of the coolest things you got to do at the end of the black belt test was a brick break. So we have these solid, long gray bricks that are, 2 or 3 inches thick. And for your first Dan, you break 1, and then second Dan, you try to break 2, and third Dan, you try to break 3. And
cool.
Yeah, and that's the process. And then from there, once you do your black belt test, then you have to wait another like 6 to 9 months to get the belt. You still have to continually show up 3 nights a week it's like almost a 2-year process.
Wow.
Once you get to that point to get the belt.
Are there any other martial arts that are breaking stuff?
Yeah.
Karate does too?
Yeah, they do board breaks. A lot of times in the competitions, though, the boards they're breaking, and this is true for Taekwondo at times too, they're like
Smaller?
very small. The boards we were breaking, they were like a solid inch and a half.
What about the type of wood there? Is there standardized stuff, or do they get the boards from a certain place?
I don't actually remember exactly. I was never the one to purchase the boards. That's a great question. I don't know the type of wood. Generally, though, the drier the wood is, the easier it was to break. So a lot of times we would like take the wood and we'd have like our stack of boards at our house, and we would put it like in front of the fireplace to like, try to make it a little bit.
Take the water out?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And sometimes even then, if like a board had a pretty big knot in it, like,
that would be hard.
It would take some strength, but
cool.
Yeah.
Well, when I was a kid, I didn't have a chance to do that. I did do some wrestling for a little bit,
Cool.
And that taught me a lot. But sports guided me in many ways. So I'm glad to hear that was your experience with Taekwondo. The character and the character building and all those topics that you mentioned.
Yeah, and
I've heard about that, but I haven't heard it articulated so well, and the description of the amount of work that went in sounded like it went through your high school, all the way through high school. Is that right?
Just about, yeah. I kind of stopped going as much, I think, in my senior year of school, of high school. But yeah, from the time I was 5 until I was 17, 18, I went religiously. Yeah, and the discipline that it taught me, and just, ability to keep pushing forward in life and not let something knock you down. And if it does, you get right back up and you keep going and you shake it off. And, it's just, it really, and integrity is so important too. And just doing the right thing when no one's watching. Like, it's just, I get the chills thinking about it, just because I'm a very firm believer. It's kind of a good segue into like talking about karma.
Yeah.
Very firm believer in karma. Whether it affects us in this life or our next. I think it really, there's some level of aura, I guess, for a lack of a better word, that, having a bunch of good karma will do for you. It's just like, if you treat people how you want to be treated and you do the right thing. And I think karma can work very, very fast, or maybe it doesn't work at all. It's kind of funny. I talked about this in my last quarter of university up at Western. It was my leadership class, and I can't remember exactly what the question was, but it was something along the lines of like, what's something you believe in? Something along those lines. And every person in the class was asked this, and we all had to stand up at our seats and talk to the whole entire class about our belief. And I said, I'm a firm believer in karma. And the professor, I could tell, was intrigued. And she's like, well, believe it or not, one of the other professors who teaches the same class, his whole like purpose of like what his main thing he was studying at the time was karma. And if whatever you do, does it affect you or others in your life? Is it actually true? Like, does karma exist? And I was like, wow, that's an interesting thing to study. And so I just thought that was, and that's why I say, whether or not it affects us in this life or our next, I'm also a believer in reincarnation. And I think that, the more seeds we plant and water, the more fruitful, things can be for us in ways that we can't even fathom.
Reincarnation is basically tied to some type of Eastern philosophy. I can't remember.
Probably like Buddhism.
Yeah. And
or I think Taoism is another one, but
right. And you're going to be a vegetarian if you're believing in reincarnation, correct?
I am not a vegetarian.
Okay.
But I know like some people do feel that way about certain things, but yeah, I'm definitely not a vegetarian.
Right. But holy cows, for example, right?
And so my mom's parents, my grandparents, unfortunately, my grandpa just passed away a month or 2 months ago now. They are Seventh-day Adventists, so they don't eat pork.
I see.
And similar to like Muslims, they don't, or what do you call it? It's considered haram, or
So is that all year or certain parts of the year?
That's all year. Okay. Yeah, they do not eat pork.
Are there any religions that don't eat pork certain times, but other times they can, or not?
I mean, in Christianity and Catholicism or any branch of Christianity, they do. I don't know the name of it.
Leading when they
fast, they fast so they can give up certain things. Yep. So maybe like in that sense, they could give up that, but they go pretty intense into what they're, they create the rules for themselves for that.
So the pork, the not eating pork is from the Old Testament, right?
I don't exactly know.
Yeah, and how it was prepared. And
something mentioned in the Quran or the Bible somewhere that whoever invented the religion said that this verse said this, so we're not going to eat this, essentially. Something along those lines. I don't know what the exact verbiage is, but and in a way I kind of understand what they're saying. And even like, it's interesting you say, well, are you vegetarian? Because even when you think about like cows or chicken, a lot of people who are vegetarian, that's exactly why, because the way that these animals are treated in their lives, the feelings that they're having and the stress that they're going through, you kill them and then you eat that. Are you then taking on that stress that they lived through their entire life with?
Yeah, they're doing it for more of a spiritual reason instead of a health reason.
Right.
And I think that diet would be like, they would say plant-based diet, right?
Yeah.
If they're doing it for their health. Where, vegetarians would typically I would experience that spiritual reason, right? The concept of wholeness, or like the concept of like karma, or reincarnation, and that's why I bring it up with with your diet. And last time we almost did this podcast together, you showed me your necklace. Right?
Yeah. My pine cone here.
Yeah. Where'd you get that?
So,
or did you make it?
I did not make it, but I do have a friend that can make them pretty nicely. This one I actually. Yeah. So what's cool about them is they're made in Bellingham.
Oh, nice.
It's called.
And that's where you went to school, right?
Yeah, Third Eye Pine Cones is the name of the company, and
do they have a store, or is it like?
I think it's just
selling it online.
Online.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm sure there are stores up there that definitely do. But what's so funny about it is I didn't buy it in Bellingham. I bought it in Ohio, of all places.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? You were in Ohio?
I was in Ohio, yes.
Wow,
I know,
awesome.
right?
What part of Ohio? My brother lives there.
Legend Valley.
Legend Valley?
Yeah, so we we flew into Chicago, actually.
Yeah.
because flights were significantly cheaper in Chicago than they were to fly into like Columbus, because it was like a last minute thing. I went there for a music festival. It's called Lost Lands.
Okay.
It's
That's
like
the band?
or that's the
festival?
name of the music festival.
Okay,
The
got
guy
it.
that puts it on, his name is Excision. Yeah, and he's like the biggest dubstep producer or name in the world.
Okay.
And so Lost Lands is pretty much like dubstep Disneyland, as people call it.
Okay.
It's a dinosaur themed, lots of fun. And I was walking around the vendors and I saw the pine cones, and it's a very popular thing among people my age.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 20 to 40 that go to concerts.
Yeah.
That a lot of people have these, and I'm like, oh man, I've always wanted one, but I just never bought one until I was there. And I'm like, oh, well, this will be a cool thing to remember. Like, this is where I got the pine cone, even though it's made in my own state, but to get it in Ohio, I don't know, it added a little bit of sentimental value to it.
Sure.
And ever since I bought it, this was last September, I only take it off really when I'm getting in the shower. It's just like,
Nice.
I don't know, it's really become a piece of me, and pine cones are very symbolic. It's sealed with an epoxy, so it's very smooth. It's got the Ohm sign back here. It's got the flower of life. There's an Australian opal in there, which is said to help with communication. I don't know, if I ever forget to put it on and I'm like going somewhere, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm missing something now.
Nice.
But yeah, pine cones are symbolic of the third eye, and all throughout history too, like even in ancient Egyptian times, the leaders, they would have staves, and on the top of their staves, they'd have pine cones, or the shape of one. And they, as I said, the third eye, which is also from the pineal gland. And so that's where the third eye is said to be, or it's also called the seat of your soul. That's kind of the gist. It's just a little token that I carry with me that is kind of become a piece of me, and I feel like it helps me for some reason. Like just in communication, and there's something about a pine cone that I think is just cool too. So
Great. Now, is that the base of the pine cone? Is that the bottom of it?
it's like the heart of it. Yeah.
Okay. And when you take apart a pine cone, you get that shape.
Right. Yeah. And it's really unique. It's pattern that it has.
Right.
It almost looks like a spider.
So that's the natural shape right there?
Yeah.
It's just stained?
Right. Yeah. It's sealed with epoxy, and then the flower of life, which is my favorite sacred geometry. I've got it like tattooed right here as well.
Okay. So that's
all
a
on my
combination
arm.
of circles?
Yeah. And it's like when we're formed in the womb, it is the shape of our cells as they come together, essentially.
Okay.
So,
When we're like 8 cells or
right.
10
and then
cells, right?
it's, in my opinion, like what ties us together, like what holds our skin together is that pattern, the way that it's shaped. And it's seen all throughout history, and it has some pretty cool like stories behind it too, with like the like ancient Egyptian like myths, and the way that like cities were formed based around the structure. And it's just kind of interesting. There's a book I read, it's called The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life. And it's the author's name is Drunvalo Melchizedek. And he's just, he gave himself that name, and it's kind of a collection of like all the religion and stories kind of combined together into what he thinks is the reason that we're here today and how we evolved in it. And it's kind of like a fan fiction type book, but some of what he says is very interesting and just has some cool ideas.
Did you go to 4 years at Western?
I did 2 years because I did Running Start.
Okay, gotcha.
So
So you graduated with some credits, right? And then you
Yes. And I almost regret doing it, but I also don't, because I saved a lot of money. But at the same time, I was done with college before I even turned 21. So I didn't really even get to experience Bellingham like in its full. But yeah, I did. I stayed in the dorms for 1 year, and then we stayed in a house with 5 of us for another year. And then I slept in a Harry Potter closet under the stairs for the last quarter of my college because I didn't want to get onto a lease for a whole nother year, which I almost wish I did, because then I don't know, I felt like I rushed through it a little too much, but also it had its advantages still, because that's the reason why I'm even here today. It allowed me to enter into my career into the dental field faster than I would have without. And who knows how things would have played out otherwise. So,
did you go straight from that to Shining?
I worked for
Trios, you said, right?
Yeah, I worked for a company down south in Renton that was a 3Shape reseller as well as a dental lab. And so I helped set up many offices across the entire nation with entire in-house lab setups with Trios, Roland Mills, Carprint, and being the fact that they were a lab, they know the whole workflow. So we could provide all the stain and glaze, all the burrs and literally everything you'd need that you're using in a lab for an office to start creating dentures in-house or crowns in-house. And that's, as we were talking about earlier, the direction that things are headed. So it really gave me an upper hand coming into Shining 3D, because I understand the workflow from A to Z already.
Yep. Right.
So when I start talking to a doctor or come into an office, even with you, Dr. Perry, when I first started our demo, I've told the story a couple of times. It's still the longest demo I've ever given. And what's so funny about it is I feel like in the first 10, 15 minutes, maybe even just 5 minutes, I kind of got this like feeling from you. You're like, this is just some other rep here and trying to sell me something, this and that. But then once we start talking and we start engaging, I could tell like you were like, wow, this guy actually kind of knows what he's talking about. Yep. And then we just kept going and going and going. And then the rest was history. And it's not the only time I've had that experience where I go into an office and I'm like, just the doctor looks at me like, oh, who's this kid? They don't know anything. I don't want them here. I don't want to listen to this spiel. But once I start talking and they realize that I'm not just here to sell you something and you're never going to hear from me again, that I really do care and love providing that on-site support afterwards. And
I remember that. And you're right. I did have that experience, building confidence.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily have any preconceived notions about Shining or you. I just probably approach dental sales from caution,
Sure.
From like, cautiously optimistic, And so, we did have a great demo. Thanks for giving me some credit there. And so, I'm naturally curious. I'm naturally curious.
Yeah.
So I think life's better that way. And did you study some religion or philosophy, or were you in computers at Western?
So I was actually just studying business. So
okay, good.
I was growing up, all my friends in one of my friend groups, they all went into, computer science. So I thought that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. My first comp sci class at Western, my professor had the thickest French accent and I could barely understand anything. And
that's rough.
I did not enjoy coding like I thought I would. It's like putting together a puzzle without knowing any of the puzzle pieces. You have to like create the puzzle pieces. Yeah. And I'm like, it was fun. It just wasn't for me. Maybe if I stuck with it a little bit longer, but I just had a bad experience and didn't really give it a second go. And I was like, that's not what I want to do. And so I hate to say it, but I feel like I took the easy road out just studying business. But
I think you know more about computers than you give yourself credit. I mean, based on what I've learned about you, you know more about it than most. And I think that in the future, you just have to have the creativity to give the AI prompts, because the computer can code for you now, basically.
That's kind of why I said I almost wish I did give it a second chance, because I mean, once you figure it out, and like you said, with the AI, they can pretty much do it all for you now. And so I know some of my friends, they have it very easy now. They just have the AI do it and they can make a couple corrections here or there. Yeah. But it's really come a long ways.
And it can check your stuff too. You can just check this for errors, which I'm hearing about, which is great. But this has been great, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you've been really transparent. And this is one of my favorite podcasts of all time. I hope to have you back we'll give it some time. We'll talk more about like where the industry is.
Yeah.
If you're open to it, I'd love to have you back because this has been a real pleasure for me. I want to talk to your dad too pretty soon here. I know we're going out on the boat. You guys are in Cap Sani.
Correct. Yeah.
Anacortes. Right?
Yep. They're crabbing right now as we speak, actually.
Really?
They were picking up some pots and they were headed back into Cap Sani now. I don't know exactly. I think they were up maybe around Lopez or something. I can't remember which island
Okay,
they
you
went
gonna go
out to.
join them?
I may. We'll see how I'm looking on time. But
Well, you might as well stick around up here, up north.
yeah, I was there. Yeah, we'll see how they're looking at on time when they're going to get back. But they should be getting back probably in the next 30 minutes or so. So I could pop over there. My niece is actually up crabbing with them this time too. She's 8. Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's great. Well, my son, he's 9, Luke, and he's at summer camp. So I'm going to go mountain biking with Shannon.
Cool.
So I'm going to go check out what she's up to. My wife, Shannon, and I are going to go mountain biking up at Galbraith.
That's the only place I've ever gone mountain
really?
biking. Yeah. My buddy Henry took me when I was in college out there. Mm-hmm. I really want to invest in a new mountain bike. I don't have one. So I don't know if you have any suggestions for me to look at, but that's like the next thing I want to pick up. I want to get into mountain biking. I want to get into rock climbing, and I picked up snowboarding again last year. So trying to keep myself busy and, going throughout. I need to start working out again because I haven't been working out. So that's like, I need to find some other activity that is like a workout, but also I'm having a lot of fun,
Well, we've got a couple e-bikes, Specialized Levo SL. SL stands for super light. It's a little bit smaller battery, so it's not the bike's not as heavy.
I see.
And I recommend that because
what was it called again?
Levo SL.
Levo SL.
So the Specialized line has Levo. I think just means electric.
Gotcha.
SL is the SL for super light. I think it's just a smaller battery. It's probably half the size because the battery adds a lot of weight to the bike.
Does it charge as you go down?
No.
Okay.
But it's the pedal assist. It's not like a electric motorcycle where it's just press on your thumbs. You have to be pedaling.
I see.
Yeah, and there's 3 different levels. So you can have like eco mode, which is not going to help you very much.
Sure.
But the battery will last longer. Or the boost if you're going uphill. Mm-hmm. It really just lets us go like 2 laps on Galbraith. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Instead of 1.
Yeah, we rode all the way up. So
yeah, I mean, if you're not gonna have and if you don't have a battery, then you might, and you have like 45 minutes, then you're just going to get 1 lap. But if you have a battery, you're going to be able to do 2, maybe even 3 laps.
Sure.
So I'd love to let you try it.
I would be more than down. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got a friend, you guys can go.
Okay.
Take them. We have a little mountain. There's a mountain biking trail. You should check that out.
Okay.
It's easy to get from my house. So maybe next time when you're in the area, if you're ever driving through here to like some office in Bellingham, give me a call because you could probably, if you had an extra hour on your way through, you could stop at our house, pick up the bike. We'll give you like a trail.
Sounds good.
That you can just ride to, and it'll take you an hour to give it back, and I'll help you. I'll help you rinse it off.
I'll take you up on that.
Okay, perfect.
It's kind of funny because Dr. Galbraith up in Bellingham is one of the only docs I have up there using the scanner. So he said Galbraith, and makes me think of her.
Yeah,
so,
sounds great. I've heard about her. I'd love to meet her.
She's great.
That's great. I hope to collaborate about it.
They do a study club up there like once a month or something in her office. They have, I think, 10 to 12 doctors that continually go. So
all right, when is it?
I don't know. But there is some event happening in Q4 of this year with the Mount Baker Dental Society, and they've invited me to go talk. So
great. I'm a member.
Yeah, great.
So,
it would be great to have you there, and I can have maybe by then we even have the printer set up here, and we can you can talk about your experience a little bit and just
remind
people up, because I know like up in Bellingham generally it's not very scanner heavy up there. Like not a lot of offices in Bellingham have intraoral scanners. So.
Well, they say science advances one funeral at a time. And I think that there's a generational change happening in Bellingham,
I see.
Yeah. So, and it's happening everywhere, So I think I've seen Mount Vernon turn over. So it'll happen. It just might take a while. We'll see. So I'm looking forward to that. That sounds great. Just remind me, when that comes.
Once I have the dates, I'll let you know, because I don't even know what day it is. But again, thank you for inviting me on to this and giving me the opportunity to talk to the world in a sense in our little microphones here. But excited to see what comes from it. And yeah, I would love to come back and maybe we'll bring my dad on too. I never know. So
yeah, I'd love to talk to your dad. If he's open to sitting here, I'd love to have him on too.
Yep.
Okay, great.
I'll mention it to him.
Okay, great. Well, that's it. We're going to call this a wrap.
All right. Sounds good.
Have fun the rest of your day.
Appreciate it.
Dear friends, I hope you've enjoyed this latest conversation with Troy Rand, a guy that's been really important to me and my journey in dentistry. I'd like to leave you with a quote. This one is from Steve Jobs, and he says that technology is nothing. What's important is your faith in people, that they are basically good and smart, and that if you give them the tools, they'll do wonderful things with them. So I'll see you next time, and thanks for listening.